Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Civitas webinar on CELSO, the innovative mobility app and monitoring system developed in the Civitas Destinations project. My name is Hannah Peters, and I'm working at Ruprecht Consult. We manage the Civitas satellite project, which is co-hosting this webinar. Our webinar today features presenters from the Civitas Destinations project who will be introducing the CELSO system, which includes an app for drivers and users, and an innovative web application that uses monitoring and intelligent data mining to evaluate and adapt transport schemes to mobility demand variability. CELSO was successfully piloted in the Civitas Destinations project, and it's currently operating in various urban and rural areas with added new functions, while also facing restraints due to COVID-19. Just to let you know, this webinar will be recorded in order for it to be available afterward to those who are interested but not able to join us live. So on the agenda today, I'm going to briefly introduce some webinar basics and the Civitas initiative, and then Panos Koryannakis will introduce Civitas Destinations, followed by presentations getting into the CELSO system. Just some basics before we get started to introduce you to the participation tools available in this webinar. The default position is muted because there are a lot of people in the audience. We want to avoid background noise, so you're not able to unmute yourself. You can only be unmuted by us. Questions. This is the best way to communicate with us. You can see this question section in your control panel. Feel free to write questions throughout the webinar. We'll either answer them individually by text or share them with the group and answer them for everyone if they're relevant to all. After each section of a presentation, there will be a dedicated Q&A where we will dedicate some time to answering your questions, but you can type them at any time. And the third feature I want to draw your attention to is the polls. We'll be asking a few poll questions throughout the webinar to gather your input and to help you learn something about one another. So before we go further, let's do our first poll so that we can learn who's out there rather than speaking into the void. You should now see a poll question on your screen. Please let us know where you work. If your option is not depicted here, then if it's other, please feel free to let us know in the chat box because we're interested. I see some answers are coming in. I'll just wait a few more seconds. I see about 50% of people have voted so far. All right. Anyone else out there want to vote? I'll give it another few seconds. Okay, I'm going to close the poll. And as you can see, it's primarily private companies among us and also some local authorities. So thank you for letting us know. And then I also want to briefly set the scene for those of you who are not familiar with Civitas. Civitas is a network of cities dedicated to cleaner and better transport in Europe and beyond. Since it was launched by the European Commission in 2002, the Civitas initiative has tested and implemented over 800 measures and urban transport solutions as part of demonstration projects in more than 80 living lab cities Europe-wide. The initiative has a diverse target groups and beneficiaries, and that ranges from participating cities to their over 52 million citizens. There are two resources that I'd like to highlight, and this is the Civitas Learning Center, which contains a library of e-learning resources about all aspects of sustainable mobility. It's where you can find previous webinars, and it's also where this webinar will be posted in case you would like to refer to it later. And the second resource is the Civitas Tool Inventory, which is an online database of over 200 tools and methods. And it helps local authorities make better informed decisions on which planning tools can be applied to their given context. It features a broad range of tools, including guidelines, software, manuals, mobile apps, games, and planning approaches that are useful for all steps of the planning process, from scenario building and measure selection to implementation and evaluation. Our presentations today come from one of the Civitas Living Lab projects, as I mentioned, Civitas Destinations, which focuses on helping island cities to cope with new tourism trends and adapt their mobility systems accordingly. So this graphic shows you what cities are involved in destinations, as well as how the project fits into the tapestry of ongoing Civitas projects. I now hand the floor to Panos, who will describe the project and its focus in more detail.
Good morning, everyone. As Hannah just mentioned, our project involves 6 touristic European islands that receive a lot of tourists, some of them in the hundreds of thousands. It is therefore important to put in perspective the role of tourism in our lives and in these 6 islands. Worldwide, the tourism sector accounts for 10% of GDP, 1 in 11 jobs, and basically it is a very important element of our local and national economies. May I have the next slide, please? Just to again speak with numbers, 13 more million tourists will visit Europe every year between 2018 and 2030, and therefore there is a direct impact and link between rising tourism and increasing mobility needs in our communities, and more specifically for our work in our islands. So it's clearly a need for more effort to increase the sustainability of transport at local level, and taking into account some new trends such as the growth of ITC solutions and applications, the availability of shared mobility options and mobility resources, and attractive public transport options. Now, this is in a broader framework of European Union policies, such as the Green Deal, and ongoing proposals that may have as one of the options to exclusively have electric vehicles in European urban centers by 2050. Next slide, please. Now, coming to our work, the 6 European islands that participate in the project are Funchal in Madeira, Las Palmas de Gran Canaria, the island of Elba in Italy, Valletta, the region of Valletta in Malta, Rethymno in Crete, and Limassol in Cyprus. Civitas Destinations is a project that implements a set of mutually reinforcing innovative mobility solutions, as I mentioned, in these islands. The project has 28 partners from 9 European Union countries, plus strong links with China. From the 1st of September 2016, and for a little over 4 years, because we just got an extension to the 30th of November of 2020, the project has a total budget of almost 20 million euros, of which 17.8 million is in EC co-funding. You see on the map the location of our partners, and please just bear in mind that these 28 partners work towards the implementation of 79 different measures, from behavioral change to shared mobility to electromobility and more efficient public transport. Next slide, please. All of this is in a framework of a very strong dissemination and replication mandate that we have. I am the dissemination manager of the project, and our effort is to maximize the spread of the positive outcomes of the project by having a very strong communication, dissemination, and replication program. In January 2018, the project launched a platform of followers that has more than 200 registrations at the moment, and with the view to share the project's achievements with supporting cities and other CPMR regions. CPMR is my organization, the Conference of Peripheral and Maritime Regions of Europe. The platform has a wealth of information that is publicly available, including all the project deliverables. Furthermore, in the framework of the project, a budget has been allocated to support the take-up of innovative tools and actions by other European cities and organizations. And at the moment, we have 8 such replication activities, 1 that has been concluded and 7 that are ongoing, that replicate the project's measures and actions. One of them is the CELSO program that you will hear next from our colleagues from MEMEX. MEMEX is a consultant in Livorno, Italy, that specializes in innovative solutions for transportation, both urban and rural transportation. And without any further due delay, I pass the camera and the microphone to our MEMEX partners to present the CELSO system. Thank you.
Thanks to Panos and to Anas for the introduction of MEMEX and CELSO. I am Claudio Disperati, and I am the PT service and the IT sector responsible for MEMEX. I'm going to start my presentation in order to show to you the CELSO main function and its potential beneficiaries. CELSO is a fleet and service monitoring system designed and developed in order to satisfy the needs of different transport companies from science and offered service point of view. CELSO, in fact, is suitable to manage both conventional public transport service and also flexible one. As an example, the feeder, the DRT service, the school bus service, the service in rural areas, and so on. Each one of these services mentioned before present several stakeholders, which are the public authorities, the transport companies, and the end user. And each one of these actors presents several needs and several problems to be solved. As an example, for the public authorities, they could be interested to know if the operated service is compliant with the scheduled one, or if the scheduled service is optimized in terms of demanded offer. From the point of view of the transport company, they could like to know how many kilometers has each bus traveled, where are located the bus on the territory, and what are the most critical network conditions. For the end user, it's important to know what is the bus arrival time at the bus stop, if the bus is on time, and the end user could like also to send some comment or feedback to the transport company about the service used. In this case, we think that a possible solution to solve his problem could be CELSO. CELSO, in fact, presents several functions that could support all the actors mentioned before. As an example, for the public authorities, CELSO allow to carry out the data quality assessment activity and the service validation one. And on the basis of the outcomes of this analysis, the public authorities have the possibility to estimate the service performance indicator and to evaluate the service offered. From the transport company's point of view, CELSO allow to carry out the real-time bus monitoring, to manage the service in a daily way, and to carry out the data analytics and activity and the service reporting. From the end user, CELSO give the possibility to know the real transit time and the real-time bus position at each bus stop, and to have information about the service regularity, as in example, if the bus is in advance, on time, or in delay. And the CELSO allows also to the passenger to send comment and feedback to the transport company. CELSO include several components, in particular 4 components that allow to the transport company to carry out all the activities envisaged in the transport processes, from the planning phase to the reporting one. And in particular, the first component is a CELSO Center, which is a group of back-end and front-end application, which allow to define the service from the point of view of the topological element and from the timetable point of view. And CELSO Center allow also to the operator to carry out the real-time service monitoring activity, the data analytics activity, and so on. The second component is CELSO Mob, which is an Android mobile app that is it's dedicated to the driver in order to visualize information about the service to operate and about the service which is operating. And furthermore, this app guarantee the communication, the real-time communication with the CELSO Center. The third component is CELSO Info, which is another Android app mobile that in this case it's dedicated to the end user, and with this app the user have the possibility to know and to have information about the real-time service operated and about the real-time bus position. The last one component is the CELSO Beacon, that is an additional Bluetooth low energy device that is required in the case that the transport company like to monitor the getting on, getting off the bus activity by the pupils. Each one of these components is included in a simple architecture which allow the communication between the center device with the peripheral one through a VLAN channel or with a LTE service provider channel. But the basic concept of CELSO development is that the system has to be simple to implement and easy to use. And for this reason, the architecture is very simple and include also include also an additional tool that is CERTinfo, which is a tool developed by MEMEX in order to carry out the data analytics activity and to report the service. As said before, a basic concept is that CELSO has to be very simple, and this simplicity concept is present also from the point of view of the onboard system installation. In fact, we have a few steps to follow in order to start up the system. In particular, as we can see, the first step is to make an onboard physical installation with a commercial or rugged tablet that has to be equipped with a SIM card in order to have a real-time communication with the center control room. And the tablet has to be installed on board the vehicle with a fixed or removable tablet support, and have to be connected with the power supply. After this first step, it's needed to equip the tablet with the CELSO Mob app that is available on the Google Play Store, and after a quick and simple training, the system is ready to be used by the companies. CELSO is simple to be implemented also from the point of view of the center, because in this case we have two solutions for the implementation. The first one is to use a cloud shaded platform. The second one is to use an hardware dedicated platform. Both of these solutions present the same function. but we prefer the first one, that is the cloud shared platform, because in this way we have the possibility to maintain updated the system and to fix potential bug that could emerge during the system use. So in this way, using a cloud infrastructure, we can say that CELSO could be provided as a service. In fact, in few hours, the system could be available for the transport company because the CELSO center, the central control room, is immediately available for the companies, which is able to carry out all the activities allowed by the CELSO function, as an example, the service planning, monitoring, management, the data mining and reporting one. And from the point of view of the onboard system, also in this case, as we have seen before, it's very simple that to implement a CELSO system with a commercial tablet and to monitor the service and to have the real-time communication with the CELSO center. With this installation, the system will be available to the transport company, and to the transport company we provide all the functionality, as an example, the fleet monitoring, the information to the end user, the possibility to monitor the flexible identity service, the school children, the school bus service, and we can also provide a web portal, a user web portal, in order to book and trip the seat. So we can say that CELSO can support the stakeholder in several ways and different ways. For example, for the public authorities, CELSO allow to carry out the service reporting activity and to verify the compliance between the operated service with the scheduled one in order to manage the service contract, and allow to the public authorities to identify the potential critical issues on the public transport network. From the transport company's point of view, CELSO could be implemented in very short time and give the possibility to the transport company to monitor both conventional and occasional fleet, and to provide information to the end user that could have the possibility to know the scheduled arrival time and the real arrival time at each bus stop, to know the real-time bus position, and the end user have also the possibility to send a feedback or a comment to the transport company. Now we will show a short video about CELSO, which will present some functionalities about the system, and the video is focused on the CELSO school function.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Eleonora Ercoli. I'm part of the MEMEX team, and I'm also working on the Civitas Destination project. I'd like to thank first Claudio for the detailed presentations about CELSO architecture and functionalities. And we would like now to spend a few minutes to ask a feedback from the audience. And for this, we have prepared a question that you can see right now on the screen. So I'd invite you to answer by choosing one of the available options. So please, you can start right now by answering. Okay. I can see some answers are coming in. Okay, a few more seconds. Okay. Thank you very much. So as you can see, do you think CELSO solution work for any transport services? The majority votes for yes, I do, which is very good for us. Just a brief comment. CELSO, in fact, is a system that eases the data collection and control the different public transport services and schemes. In particular, CELSO is suitable to satisfy the needs of small and medium transport companies operating services like DRTs, school bus, or also subcontracted weak public transport lines. For this reason, CELSO has to be simple from the implementation and the operational side, guaranteeing a high level of flexibility and usability also for larger public transport companies. Okay, so thank you very much for your answer. I would like now to ask you if you have some other questions on the presentation held so far. You can write them in the question box, and we can directly answer to you right now. So, okay, our first question is that regardless any need for installation, does CELSO guarantee the same functionalities of an AVM system or something more? Could you please, Giorgio, answer to this question?
Hi, I am Giorgio. I am the managing director of MEMEX. Yeah, I can say yes in two levels. The first level is on the board. That is CELSO app. It's clearly being an app on the table and the tablet. It allow the collection of data, but it's not connected, for example, with other device. That this means the functionality are very, very specific to the service, to know which, as Claudio say, how many kilometers this bus made, how was the regularity. From the center, CELSO will offer at this stage of the market more functionality about the analysis and reporting and business intelligence to understand the KPI of the service and to allow from the side of the operator or from the side of the authority to control the service, to analyze the service, and also to verify the commitment of the public transport service contract. Yeah, just a minute.
Okay, thank you very much, Giorgio. I think that you've also answered to the second question, which is partly, which are the benefits for a public transport authority managing different services in different area in using CELSO?
You know that first of all that CELSO is a common device and system that allow to collect the data and to evaluate the data. It's clearly for the authority, the PTA, for example, public transport agency. They have the interest to know principally if the operator will comply with the commitments of the contract. And it's clearly if there are different areas with different service, but also with different small or medium transport company. The problem is to have a common tools for unify the control and also to comparing the different capability of the different transport company. You know that it's clearly that CELSO is a tool also that could manage, not in operational way, but for the post analysis of the service performed by the transport operator. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Giorgio. I think we can, there are no more questions, so I think we can give the floor to Claudio for the second part of the presentation.
Thank you, Leonora. Okay, this is the second part of the presentation about the demonstration held in Elba Island. CELSO has been demonstrated during the summer of 2018 and 2019 in Elba Island. That is the third Italian largest one of the and is one of the 6 destination laboratories. In this context, we have monitored several services in several areas. In particular, we have monitored the mare bus service in the Portoferraio and the Rio municipalities, and we have also monitored the Chicchero service, which is a seaboat service in the seaboat service in the Gulf of Portoferraio. To implement CELSO and to demonstrate CELSO in Elba Island, we have carried out several activities in order to plan and to programming the service directly in CELSO. We have also defined the timetable. We have managed the service in a daily way. We have carried out the real-time service monitoring, and we have provided the business intelligence tool and in order to carry out the business intelligence activity and the reporting and the service reporting. Obviously, we have also equipped the bus with the tablet and the CELSO mob, and we have provided the CELSO info app that is as we have seen before, is the app for the end user in order to provide the information about the arrival transit time, the real-time bus position, and we have promoted the app to the tourists with advertise at each bus stop together with the information about the mare bus service. And we have also provided, and this has been an important aspect for the public authorities, because we have also provided the business intelligence tool. In this way, the municipality has been able to carry out all the business intelligence activity and to carry out analysis about the collected data with the CELSO system. In fact, we have provided several data about the trips and about the transit, as an example, the trip duration, the length, the departure and arrival time, and information about the trip completely or partially reported. From the transit point of view, also in this case, we have provided different and several information about the transit time in delay, in advance, the difference between the reported one and the effective timing, and other information. As said before, we have provided CELSO info that in this case has been an important part of the demonstration, because the mainly part of the user has been the tourist, and in this way we have the possibility to provide information about the service, about the mare bus service and the Chicchero one. In this way, the user had the possibility to set the app, selecting a favorite bus stop or a favorite bus line, and after this selection, they can show on the map all the information that you like to see. As an example, the path and the real-time bus position, but they can also send feedback and comments to the transport company through pre-filling pre-configured questionnaire or filling a free text message. As said, we have monitored 2 main services in Elba Island, but we hope that in the future will be the possibility to monitor several services for all the 7 municipalities in Elba Island. In fact, we know that our present service, as an example, the conventional public transport, the school bus, the mare bus, the seaboat, and the flexible or dirty service. And this will be possible thanks to CELSO, because CELSO can work as a service integrator to monitor, to control the service, and furthermore, CELSO is able to provide a knowledge dashboard to plan and to coordinate the mobility service. And date, CELSO has been implemented in several areas. First of all, we have tested CELSO in Piombino and Grosseto area about the public transport, the conventional public transport service, monitoring a selected line. After this step, we have demonstrated CELSO in Rio and Portoferraio, as said before, and at the moment we have implemented CELSO in 4 areas of the suite of the Tuscany in order to monitor different kind of the school bus service, and we are also implementing CELSO in several municipalities of the Lunigiana Valley in order to manage and to monitor different kind of service, as an example, the conventional public transport one, the feeder, the school bus, and the DRT service. Okay, now I give again the floor to Eleonora about the question 2.
Yeah, thank you very much, Claudio. So now we would like to have again your feedback. So you can see another question on the poll. I'd invite you to answer. Okay, I can see answers coming in. Okay, thanks a lot. So again, a very positive feedback for us. 93% of the attendants say yes, the data collected by CELSO are necessary to optimize the service. So thank you a lot for your feedback. There are actually several questions right now, even related to the first part of the presentation. So the first one is there an alert system in CELSO for tablets that require updates? As a Samsung user, myself, these devices restart out of the blue from time to time. How can this be mitigated so it doesn't affect operation? I think that Claudio can answer this question.
Yes. At the moment, we haven't problem relating to the updating of the tablet. In any case, we have a fixed version of CELSO, and we suggest to the transport company to use some kind of tablet that could be Samsung or another Android device. But at the moment, we haven't problems of this type.
Thank you, Claudio. Then another question is, how long does it take to set up and start the CELSO system? What are the key steps for that? Giorgio, do you wish to answer this question?
Yeah, you know that it's simple in the sense that in CELSO there is a tool for setting the timetable and the route of the service. Clearly, if the transport company, they have already the rostering program and the definition of the route of each line or service, we could interface automatically. And we also have the possibility to tracing the route on by the CELSO app, CELSO Mob, going with the bus on the route and taking every time the position of the bus stops and the other main meeting point.
Okay, thank you, Giorgio. So the last question for now is, which lessons learned in ELBA have you identified for following implementations? What went well and what could be done in a different way?
Yeah, in Elba was a good experience. The first is the simplicity. You know, I wanted to underline, because also there is a good team in Portoferraio and Isola d'Elba, that we launched the CELSO for the tourist service, Maribus, and also for the ferry boat service is from San Giovanni to Portoferraio with the boat, and then we monitoring. Then in this winter, under the Christmas period, we discovered that the team of Portoferraio implemented the CELSO for the service of Christmas service. You know, the Christmas, I don't know in English, and we was very happy and very proud that they to discover that they did this without any request of assistance, that they implement the CELSO in the Christmas service. This is the simplicity. The possibility is also, the problem is to have a few hours for training the driver. That depends on which driver and which team you find in the transport company or under the service.
Thank you very much, Giorgio. This one, the last question so far. So I'll give you again the floor to Claudio for the last part of today's webinar.
Thank you, Eleonora. So this is the third part, and is about the public transport at the time of COVID-19. And as we know, the pandemic emergency by COVID-19 has had and is having a big impact on all socio-economical sector, and therefore also in the public transport one. The main constraint which have strong impact on the public transport is the social distancing, and therefore about the public transport service capacity reduction. In this case, sorry, okay. Also in this case, we think that CELSO can offer its support to solve some problems for different kind of services. As an example, the flexible and on-demand service, the public transport conventional services, and the sharing services by occasional fleet. We think that CELSO can support, in example, the DRT service or the conventional public transport service, which require a book of the trip. In fact, CELSO provide a user web portal in order to book the trip and the seat, and provide information to the transport company about the seat availability, and to provide also this information to the end user in order to avoid that the user wait the bus at the bus stop, but the bus is already full. Furthermore, CELSO also, in addition to this functionality, provide all the standard function as the service real-time service monitoring, the business intelligence tool, and so on. But we have also developed an additional function that, as we have already mentioned before, that is about the getting on, getting off the bus monitoring activity by the weaker user class, that could be the pupils or other class. And in this case, the tablet detect the presence on the bus of the user equipped with the CELSO beacon device, and the system compare the expected data with the detected one, and can elaborate different alerts to send to the different actors involved in this environment, as in example the driver, the transport company, the school, and the parents. And in this way, we are able to guarantee a higher security and safety level for all the user. But we know also that CELSO could be not the only solution to solve the problems. And in particular, we know that in a short term, it's necessary to intervene in a different way. As an example, to come back the municipality to a central role about the public transport planning, or to manage in a different way with the new space management policy in order to guarantee dedicated lanes to the public transport. And in this way, we have the possibility to guarantee a more efficiency public transport service. But it's also need to integrate the conventional services with occasional fleet. And in this case, could be very important be able to equip this occasional fleet with a common or tool or device in order to monitor the service operated and to collect the data about it. And we know also that the public transport has to be also integrated with other kind of services. And as an example, the micromobility, the bike sharing, the car sharing, the carpooling, the flexible or DRT services, and also with the active personal mobility. And also in this case, CELSO can offer its support, because as said before, CELSO can work also as a mobility service integrator in order to monitor the service and to aggregate the data collected by each system or services. Furthermore, CELSO can provide a knowledge dashboard for planning and coordinate the mobility service in order to support the public transport company and the public transport authorities. In conclusion, we like to highlight that CELSO has been awarded with a seal of excellence by the European Commission, and also that CELSO is one of the good practices selected at the European level for the mobility in rural areas under the SMARTA project, which MEMEX is lead. Thank you for your attention, and now I give the floor again to Eleonora.
Yeah. Thank you, Claudio. So last poll for you. Could CELSO functionalities answer to COVID-19 challenges? Please answer to this poll. Thanks. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. So 82% votes for yes, especially trip and seat booking and user information. Okay, thank you very much for your answer to the poll. There are a couple of questions more on this last part. So the first one is CELSO able to collect information on the number of passengers in and out and check the maximum number of passengers allowed on board? Would you like to answer, Giorgio?
Yes, that you know that one of the last function that we developed, that it's clearly that we are thinking to solve the problem that with urgency, we set up a function that add and diminish the number of passenger by direct function on the app of the driver that is managed by the app, like when you book a room, you make a plus or less. This is to help the driver not to turn every time to see what happened in the bus. But there is another functionality. Okay, this functionality is also managed in different way, for example, for the school service and so on.
Okay, thank you. In fact, for the school service, there is another questions on this. So how can CELSO pinpoint each pupil without them each having a wearable tracker or device. Is this done through manual checking by the driver? Is there a faster and more efficient way to get this done? May I ask Claudio to answer this question?
Yes. So as said, the CELSO mob, the tablet, is able to detect if the beacon is on the bus or not. If the student, the pupils, or the users are not equipped with the CELSO beacon, or the public transport company has the possibility to make a list of the user expected at each bus stop, and the driver can check manually if the pupils get on the bus and where the pupils get off the bus.
Thank you, Claudio. I don't see any more questions so far. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending this webinar today. Thank you, Claudio and Giorgio, for the presentations and the answers. Thanks to Ruprecht and CPMR for the organization of this webinar. Okay, and for any other questions about CELSO, you can visit our website and contact us, and we will be very happy to provide you with answers. Thank you.
Thank you.